Let's go. Let's go. Alright, people wanna hate every day, it's okay.
All right, welcome back, Reckless Success. Tonight we got my friend Eric Speakman on. He owns Leading Edge Fire and Water Restoration. Eric, glad to have you on.
Thank you, Jesse. Good to be here.
Thank you. For new listeners that haven't been here before, a little background on me. We own May Excavating. We have a Reckless Success podcast. We're dabbling in real estate and a fish farm, and we've done all that in the last 10 years. And the 10 years prior to that, I was in federal prison. So we're just basically trying to give entrepreneurs or anybody out there that's kind of, struggling to know that you don't always have to be on that path, that just because you're low now doesn't mean you'll always be there. Because 9 years ago, my friends bought me underwear when I got home from prison because I was pretty much homeless with nothing. I didn't have clothes or anything. I literally pulled my clothes out of the closet, and they had the moth holes in them that were so old hanging in the closet. So what we do, we have other entrepreneurs on or business owners and just talk about their story and how we met. We actually met on the job site. Did we meet through a job or did I hire? I can't remember. But it was through work. However, we met.
We met through Lisa. I met Lisa in a BNI group.
Okay.
And then, I called you about tearing down a house. And with the fire restoration, we got a job that had just tremendous damage, and the house was going to be a loss. And I thought, well, I might know somebody who can make that happen. And so I reached out to you and had you to bid it, but I didn't have all of the information the right way to write an estimate for that kind of work through the insurance company. And as it turns out, if the house burns halfway down, you can't charge to tear down a whole house. And that's how we talked about it. But ultimately,
you got a good memory.
I was able to follow up
right
a few times with you and refer you to some work that I think you probably got.
Yeah, I've had plenty of calls and people tell me. That always makes me feel good. People call me and they say other business owners send them our way or vice versa. I tell people whenever I see anybody with mold, because you guys do mold. You've done some mold removal for us.
We have. We do. Really, it's kind of an across the board as far as mold's concerned. We can do work in large commercial spaces, or if you've got a moldy ceiling in your bathroom because you don't use the fart fan every time that you take a shower. Right. Humidity will build up, and over time, you'll just end up with a little bit of growth on the ceiling. We can take care of that.
Yeah, I used to do dish network. I'd be crawling around people's attics. Like, man, they got mold all over in here. Yep. They'd never even, I told them, but they're like, oh, yeah, that's all right. It's up there.
Yeah, I'm not living with that. It's no big deal.
Yeah. It's pretty important. We had some pop up. I think I talked about it before. We had this roof put on our house, and after the roof was put on, we had a leak, and the company came and they put fans on it. I didn't feel like that was a good fix when they came. And then sure enough, about 3-4 months later, there was mold growing where the drywall had got wet. My wife calls me and she's like, "You're not going to believe this." I'm like, what? She said, "There's mold." So that's not what you want to hear in your house. So you guys came.
I like it when people say black mold. It gets the phone call going.
Right.
But it's just not accurate. It's a scare tactic.
It just looks like it. For somebody that doesn't know what they're looking at.
There's something, and I'll get the numbers wrong, but there's thousands and thousands of molds out there, and they've identified a small percentage of them, and a lot of those happen to be black. But a few of those black molds can be very dangerous. So whenever somebody says black mold, they don't know what they're saying. What they mean is Stachybotrys most of the time, and that doesn't mean anything except that that's one of the dangerous ones. So whenever they say that they've got black mold, I understand that they've got mold and they're concerned.
Right.
I'm going to treat everything the same way, whether it's a reasonably safe mold to have or if it's something very, very dangerous. The process is exactly the same. Because I don't know how one individual is going to be affected by it because we're all different.
No, you guys did good. You identified where it was, and then the way you contained it off. Because it took a couple days to make it happen.
What I should say is thank you. You're saying nice things. Thank you.
So you guys, we do a lot of work with a bunch of people. Some people don't contain it off. Some people don't take off their shoes.
Right. Yeah.
Some people track like some crazy stuff down the hallway that you got to scrape off when they leave. I'm like,
Oh
are
yeah,
you serious?
yeah. We'll do a job where there's been a sewer backup in the basement, and the homeowners have been, because they don't know any better. They're down there, and then they just come upstairs and go to the kitchen, and then they go back downstairs, and then they come up and go out the back door. And there's some controls that you really should put in place, because now you've got shit all over your house.
Right. That's what we are in the environmental field. We have a lot of deconning we have to do, and protocols that we use, depending on what level we're getting into. And it's all air monitoring and stuff like that. But it's good that you guys are, like, because you're doing at my house, you're doing residential. So some companies would be like, or some guys would be like, oh, we're here, I can slack a little bit. There's no safety guy watching, but they all did real good. They put cardboard down, down the hallways, so if they're walking in and out, there's not a mess.
Sweet. Now, that's what we tell them to do. I don't always know that that's happening.
Yeah, they did good. It was
awesome.
Clean. Everything was clean, contained.
Thank you.
Because they had to do drywall, and it was in our bedroom. Well, nobody wants drywall dust all over, when they're cutting it out. So I was glad that it was all plasticed off and contained in there. But how do you even get into starting? Did you come from a business that was water restoration?
I did.
And fire? You did?
I did. So I've worked in the trades all of my life. I've had a few jobs that weren't in the trades, but I have worked in the trades, and I have done almost everything that there is to do. The vast majority of it was for a very short period of time.
We're funny, aren't we? I'm the exact same way.
In my youth, I had a lot of big plans that didn't involve anything to do with my future. So I had a ton of fun. I did all the things that young men with poor direction are supposed to do.
Right.
And I did that, and I financed it all myself by working in the trades, which meant, I may do some roofing for a couple of weeks until I think that that's not fun anymore. And then I may sling blocks for bricklayers, and then that's not fun anymore. Right. And now I'm going to work for a painter. So I did all that stuff for short periods of time because I didn't have any insight into what my life should have been. All I knew is that I'm here for a good time.
Yeah. Make money, spend it.
Yes.
Make money, spend it.
Yeah, I'm looking for my next
bag
of weed or my next beer
party.
Or whatever. Yeah,
right.
My next party.
Yep.
And so I did that for more years than I should have.
Man, I done that one summer when I was like 18. And at this point in my life, I was all methed out. So, like, I didn't weigh 120, 30 pounds. And I had to carry these 9-foot concrete basement forms
yes.
up out of the hole and stack them. Well, I only weighed like 130. My little arm was like this big around, and I had the biggest bruise trying to carry these. And not to mention, I hadn't slept in a few days, but they would pay me $125 cash a day. So, boy, I stuck it out for like a whole summer. But all I would do is I would get the money, and then I would go get drugs, and I'd do them at night, and then the next day I'd have to work. I was getting nowhere. I was just spinning my wheels.
You really need to talk to these meth heads today, because you can't get them to do anything.
No?
Buddy, you were earning it.
Yeah, we were working for it.
You were earning it. These guys are stealing everything.
Right.
It's a whole different thing.
Yep.
I did a lot of different things, and I ended up in a situation that was plain to me that I needed to change a venue. So I was doing things that if I continued to do the things that I was doing, I was going to either end up dead or in jail. Right. And it became really obvious. It was, the world showed the light.
Right.
And so
the party's over. Sometimes you got to know when the party's over.
And I was very fortunate. I didn't get in a bunch of trouble, and I was able to make that decision. So we sold most everything that we had, and I told my wife we're moving to Southern Illinois. And she didn't agree at the time. She
Where are
knew
you
what we
originally
needed
from?
Mattoon.
Okay, so that's about, 4 hours maybe? 3?
It's 136 miles. It's a little over 2 hours.
Did you have family here? Or did you just
no?
That was a spot on the map and said, let's go?
We had been down here for a couple of like getaway vacations just to Shawnee, hang out, do some fishing and camping. But not having anybody here was the reason that this was good. It was really kind of perfect for us. We still had the support from back home, but we really had to work to get it.
Right.
It's far enough away, and we had the freedom that I had to take responsibility for my life. I could no longer be the shithead that I was. Nobody was going to make it possible for me to be as stupid as I had become.
Boy, them 20s are hard. I'm just telling you guys out there.
The 30s ain't good either.
The
'cause we
30s
didn't
are
get here
rough, but you're like starting to wake up a little bit. You're starting to come out of the 30s are your hangover.
Yeah, for sure. It was 2004 when we moved down here, and I was still living a certain life. We hadn't changed entirely, but I found a job ultimately at a restoration contractor, and I told myself and I told my wife, and I just knew that if I didn't find something that I could do for a long time, I was never going to make any money. That's, you can do a lot of different things, but you'll never, you're moving laterally. You're not going up ever. So.
But I also think that people that are driven like you are now, because now you have this business, you guys are doing awesome. I've watched it grow. It's been doing real well from my point of view. But from my point of view, I also did the same thing. I think it's just I was bouncing around not knowing what it was that really piqued my interest,
Mm-hmm.
So I was a crane operator. I've done the electrician's apprenticeship. Then I went to the operators, but just it takes me along. Like whenever I do something and I accomplish a goal, I lose interest real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So
immediate
then I
gratification.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I know how to do this now. I don't want to keep doing this. I already know how to do this. I want to learn something else. And it took
How much arrogance is in there? Because I feel that, and in myself, I can feel the arrogance. Like,
right.
No, this is bullshit. I already got this.
Right. I got this figured out. So what else can I learn?
Yeah, 10 more years of this isn't going to teach me anything.
No. I mean, I've got this mastered, and I'm already at where you guys.
Yeah.
I got when I was at the boat factory, I went right away. Nobody raised their hand whenever they said, who wants to be the forklift guy that moves boat? Boy,
right here.
Got it. I saw my name on the bathroom stall, Jesse Mays, a brown noser. But I got that damn thing. They didn't give me nothing. They gave me like a 10-cent raise, I think.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I got I'm pulling the boats through. That's the big dog. 10 cents.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Completely replaceable.
Yeah. So then my interest started peaking other places. But I have been an advocate for entrepreneurship, but we also don't be afraid to go get a job that's just at a factory or works. I know I'm always harping on that. But the more I'm out in public and I see that nobody's working anymore, and I know like all these videos are out there and it's be an entrepreneur. But if you just want to work and hunt and party on the weekends or whatever, we still need workers.
Even if this is what you want to do with your life, you can't do this without that.
Right.
I don't think.
No.
I don't think you can just jump out there and start practicing to be great. I think that you have to do it for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do it with some guidance and some direction.
See how things work. You can't just at 20 start a business or 18. You can. Some guys have, but you got to be really passionate and driven.
I've roofed houses. I've sided houses. I've done all of those trade things on my own, thinking that I had some kind of an idea of a business.
Right.
And I had no clue. I had no idea until I went to work. I went to work for a franchise. And I think that if anybody wants to do any restoration work in their life, I think that that's the best way to do it, is to get your education on somebody else's dime while in turn earning them a buttload of money.
Right.
Because that's what I did. I spent a little under a decade doing that. And learned an incredible amount, and I made a ton of money for these people.
Right, and yourself.
And I made a little bit of money for myself. Right. I didn't make enough money for myself,
but enough to get to the point to where you were ready to start your own.
It paid all of my bills, and I got a vacation. I got an education that was worth more than anything they ever could have paid me.
Yeah.
But I was willing to get it. I was willing to take it. I was willing to eat the shit sandwich for as many years as I had to get where I needed.
And that's important. That's something you guys that are, seeing tractors or seeing businesses, and it seems like, oh, I go to a job and I get a check. There's a lot of education and schoolwork that has to come. Like with us, we've got to have the hazmat 40, your OSHA 10 and 30. There's weeks out of the year, especially if you don't refresh, that you got to be doing classwork just to be able to be on the jobs.
Right. And there's a ton of certifications. There's a governing body called the IICRC that dictates the way that I conduct myself in restoration.
Right. And
I have to follow their guidelines. And in order to do that, I have to be certified in all these different things. it's a ton of fun and I enjoy it because I get a little bit nerdy about it. But at the same time, you know, if I go to a class, it's going to cost just for me to go and educate myself. It's like $1,800 or $2,000 for the class and my lodging and whatnot. And that's for like 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I employ, say, 10 people that I need to get that education for every year in order to be what I hope is one of the best firms in our area, then do the math because I ain't doing it on camera, but that's a good bit of money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we do the same thing. We
And
got to do
time.
our refreshers. So yeah, if you add all that up, and you know, like he's saying, if you go to a company, you get the education on how to do it, because like he's saying, you're not just going to start a company and know all these steps. You can only YouTube so much.
Right.
So getting in there and getting your hands on something. So if you want to be an operator or you want to own an excavating business, the best way to do it is go work for somebody, learn how they're doing it, and try to work for the best. You know, that's kind of, I've used that motto a lot in my life. Like, I'm mentoring off of people that I see are super successful.
Yes.
I'm not paying attention to the guys that are just doing okay. I'm going to the guys that are doing really good and trying to get advice and knowledge. So
yeah, the franchise that I worked for, I didn't know it at the time, but I found out over time that they're one of the top franchises in the nation. It's not the company, it's not, you know, the big machine, but that individual in his franchise, he's an exceptional individual, and I have nothing bad to say about the man. Right. I left that job for what I thought was going to be something better, and thankfully it is.
Right.
But
you took a risk.
I'm incredibly grateful for what I got from him. Yep. And I ran into him the other day. He's not from here. He's from out of the area. I happened to be in his area, and I ran into him and his entire family in a restaurant and was able to shake his hand and thank him. And I hope that meant something to him, right, because the fact that he looked me in the eye and shook my hands was important to me. I thought that was, I had hoped that he didn't bear hard feelings, because I essentially left, and then within less than 2 years, I started a restoration company doing exactly what he did.
Right.
And he looked me in the eye and said it was good to see me.
What I tell people, if you want to try it, good luck. If I like you, I'll give you some advice, but if not, good luck, because anybody can think they want to try it, but it's not easy. Nobody said it's going to be easy.
I don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's usually a pain in the butt. So if usually you'll figure out if you're going to make it or not, like the first 2 years.
Here's the best. No, this is not the best. I'm full of shit. So This is not the best advice that I could ever give somebody, but
it's some advice.
Some of the best advice that I can give a person is the time that you spend worrying about and concerning yourself with your competition is time that you are not spending on making yourself better.
Right.
So if you're worried about what the people around you that are doing the same thing, if you're worried about what they're doing, then you're not doing what you should for yourself. Right. So don't talk about your competition. Don't breathe life into the things that they do. Talk about your business. Talk about the things that you do. And
competition's really an asset if you go about it right. Like, I have no competition in excavating, because we're all the local excavating companies, I call them for all kinds of stuff. I need trucks, I need dirt, I need this, I need that. You know, who's got this that can, tote this tractor? Or it's so intertangled that if you try to come into it with that, oh, they're my competition, and I've got to catch myself sometimes. Sometimes I'll see like a company and they're advertising real good. Like, who the fuck is this? I'm like, what is this showing up
sliding into my shit? Who are
on
you?
My damn feed over here,
trying to mow my lawn.
So I will actually catch myself and be like, quit hating. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do it all the time.
Yeah, I'll be hating and then I'll be like, quit hating, but. Not having competition, don't be scared to go talk to other. Just because you're an excavator, don't mean this excavator across the street wants to fight you. Go over there and shake his hand and be like, hey, we offer this service. If you guys ever need any help, get backed up, because everybody's backed up.
Yes. We get and give referrals with everybody who does the work that I do.
Right.
We get and give referrals to everybody that does the work that I do. And all I can hope is that they do it well enough that it doesn't make me look bad.
Right. Yeah, I got to
That's
start
it.
a job that you referred me to this week. On that note,
Is it over
sure
at
to
here in Carterville?
yeah.
Dude, she's fantastic.
Okay. I was like,
She, brother, man,
Good.
you and Lisa should just have conversations with them.
Yeah.
You
They
should
are
just
interesting.
meet them.
They were interesting. When I
Yeah,
talked to
they
them.
spent years abroad, and
Yeah.
and it's just they're fantastic. He is very nice. He's
Mhm.
very kind. He's very personable. He's been very busy every time that I'm there, so I've only had to deal with his wife, and she has been exceptional. They talking about a shit sandwich. These people bought a house, and it has been nothing but problems to them
And
from the beginning, and they're all things
that were
that were known
knew.
ahead of time.
Yes, that's what I
Right.
was going to say. Because you
And
can
whoever
see the
sold
fixes.
it to them knew.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
see where they've worked on it over the years. Like,
Yeah.
so they've been trying to get the water off that house for 20 years.
Yes,
Different
yeah.
pitches on the roof
And
or
tell me, when you look at it, it's like it's crazy obvious what you need to do, right?
right.
Like the fix is crazy obvious. How they didn't get there on their own blows my mind. The previous owners, how they
Right.
didn't get to that
Oh, yeah.
fix.
Yeah.
If the whole goddamn yard
Right.
flows to the back of your house, you need to do something about that.
Right. I think we got them
mother
under
of pearl.
control now.
Well,
They
good.
have that. They had issues. It was coming over their little.
I
back
met
basement.
the concrete guys there. I
Mhm.
went and picked up our payment for the mitigation that we did, and the stone guys were there. I can't remember the name, but I have it in my phone because I want to use them.
That'll allow
I've seen
us
them twice.
bringing the. Hope they went 2 or 3. They were gonna. If you went there, then they went up a couple.
They did.
Okay. And that'll give us enough to where we can pitch it back away from the house. Because
Uh-huh.
right now it's just falling right to it.
Yeah, and the
And
only way to
can't-
get over it is to what?
Unless I dig a big ditch in the back, So we're going to now be able to raise up the grade, get it pitching back to the backyard, and then put in actually a buried culvert and run it out to the city storm sewer. So
I
it's
want
going to
to
help them.
I want to say something about Jesse here. He did some work at our property, putting a driveway in, and it's other excavating guy that's doing the dirt work up at the house is like, dude, he did a great job.
If you wait about a month or so, I think you'll be all right.
We'll see.
You gotta get some-
If I waited a month and it didn't fucking rain for a month,
You got to
but
get
that's
some
not
sun
where
in
we're
there.
living.
It's in the woods. That's what every day, boy, that
Yeah.
low spot, we're looking up.
Yeah,
I'm
there's
like,
no-
man, I want
no.
to start clearing trees right
No,
now
there's
because I
no-
can see
and-
up on the top where it's cleared for the house all sunny.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was just
Yeah, and you ain't tearing them trees out. My wife won't have
right.
it. But they cut a ditch across the property to catch the water that comes. It all slopes in one direction to catch it and run it out the other side. And so I found that low spot at the Y where the road is. There's a big pool of water that it all runs to, and I thought I bought a mini excavator. There's nothing that I can't fucking do. Let me tell you what I can't do. Yeah, I can't cut drainage with an excavator. What I have now is about an 18-inch wide,
Oh no.
30-foot long pond that's maybe 18 inches deep.
Dang
So
it.
I took a low spot and turned it into a lower spot.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, that's what I did. That's because I could see, there's a little bit of grade there. If I just,
Right.
and by the time I got done, I've got a shit ton of dirt in a big hole.
Right.
So not everybody can do it.
It happens. It's all right. It's just seat time. A lot of seat
It's
time.
a ton of fun. I bought it with good intentions, good business intentions. It is a company purchase. That's what I'm going to use it for. But ultimately, all I do is tear out trees and play like a 12-year-old.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Well, it'll work good for your company though. You get a fire demo. You can.
I
tear it
will
down
be able to
yourself
just
now.
tear it down. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
nice mini. I was looking at it. We got there and one of my guys is like, "Whose tractors are here?" Like somebody else is doing. I was like, "Oh, that's the owner." He's like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Well, he doesn't do this. He's just got a tractor. He's gonna
Yeah.
start. He just got it."
Yeah,
But
it has made me a lot of. Hasn't made me any money, but it has saved me, which is almost the same. That's another good business thing, brother. If you can save yourself some money, then you made yourself some money.
For sure.
Holy crap!
I'm always thinking about investing. Well, now we're investing. Now my mind's shifted to investing in things that are making money in different ways. But for the company side, I'm always thinking of ways for the company like, man, if we had that bucket, and then it's racking my brain, like I just spent that much time using this kind of bucket, and that bucket would pay for itself in 2 weeks. if I just had that, the time it would save. So I'm not scared to make that purchase and get the tool we need. It's important to have the right tools to do the right thing.
I use a local dumpster company that I love. I love Dax at SI Waste Container.
Oh yeah, we use Dax
Is
all
my
the time.
brother. I
That's
love
who
him.
we use.
I have known him now professionally for probably 15 years.
Have you ever met him?
Oh God, yeah.
Have I ever met him? I've dealt with him, talked to him on the phone 20 times, and
he would sit right there and we would have a blast.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he should. I don't know what he does or how he does it, but he's fucking doing it better than everybody else.
He's
in my
doing
opinion.
good. That's who we use. That's who I refer people to whenever they ask.
I will text him and tell him I need a swap on a container, and it will be there the next day. And that is not what other people can do in general.
Right.
Some of the smaller ones can make it happen, but Dax is not a smaller one.
And how important is that?
Oh my God, it's huge.
I mean,
huge,
it could cost your company a whole cruise day's worth.
For sure, it does.
You know, if there's a full dumpster and we can't even get in here,
it does.
And
I bought us a small dump trailer, and like a 6x10, I think it is, something like that. Anyway, I bought that, and we have just used the crap out of it.
Yeah.
But I used it, I think, 40 times in 2 months. And for my company,
that's pretty good.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So 40 times in 2 months, and that's not right. 40 times in the first quarter of the year. That's what it was.
Still good.
And fantastic for my company. That's $239 every time that I use that,
right?
Or $259. But anyway,
every time
I dump it, and every time that I dump it, it costs me about $60, $60 to $70 with manpower and the dump fee, because it's not very big. It doesn't hold a lot.
Right.
So I'm making $180 every time that I dump that trailer versus paying somebody $400 or $500 for a dumpster that they dump all the time.
Right.
So when I did the math on it, I paid for it in the first 2 months that I had it.
Right.
And now it's been making me that money that first quarter of the year up until now. It's just making money. So we're going to buy another dump trailer.
Right.
Because
sometimes I have hiccups and I'm like, I want to make this purchase, and I'll rent for a while, and finally like the first couple of years renting is okay.
Yeah.
First couple of years when you need to, but once you can make those purchases and you got your business credit, going, and the bank trusts you, then purchase those items. Because I've spent money renting before. I've done it just now. I looked at our invoicing and we had like $9,000 because we've got so much work going on. I don't have enough tractors.
Uh-huh.
So in the summertime, when the real busy months get here, I'll rent certain things. Well, rented a skid steer for 3 months at $3,000. I told Lisa, I said, get us another skid steer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just spent, a
just
quarter of
math.
it in a few months. So it's time to buy a skid steer. It looks like, or another one.
It's tough to make the time. It's tough for me to make the desk time work for me.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I sit down at a desk, I get really stupid. It's crazy fast how dumb I get sitting. I sit down and I'm like, well, what the fuck was I doing?
Well, that's what's wrong with you, Ellie.
So I get crazy dumb, and so it's hard.
Mean. I shouldn't have said that. I take that back. I was just joking.
It was funny.
It was funny. That's
she
the only
laughed.
reason I said it.
She laughed.
She looked at me like she's going to
She
kill
did.
me.
She
and
did,
then
but there was a smile.
I thought about it. I thought, oh, why'd you say that? Brother, why'd you say that? All right, I got sidetracked. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm very much out of my element. I'm out of my point where I am the most comfortable, right? Out there in the world, diagnosing these things, figuring out problems. Then I sit down at my desk to do that on paper and at a computer. And I am very good at mitigation. I'm very good at the physical work that we do. Not as good as I used to be, but knowledge-wise, I don't get surprised anymore. But I am not a businessman. I am not a businessman.
Somebody's businessman.
I pay a ton of people. I pay a small army to make happen the things that a lot of individual business owners do. And I do it because I am no good at it. And if you don't find somebody to replace you in the places where you're no goddamn good, you'll never make it.
Right.
Never.
Well, that's good.
I pay people to do the fine work, the book work, all of that stuff. I have to have somebody for. So whenever I sit down at the table What we started off with was do the math, decide whether or not it makes sense to make that purchase. Are you going to invest this money into your company? And if you sit down and you figure out that you paid $9,000 over 3 months for a skid steer, what's a monthly payment on a skid steer? Is it $2,000, $2,500?
Way less.
Okay, so then it's paid for and making money at that point.
Oh yeah.
Because if it costs you $1,500 to rent it for the month,
and it's making
you're
money,
like less. No, if it's $1,500 to rent it and it was costing you $3,000, then you just made $1,500.
And what I always find out, and this is with a dozer, with a Traco, with another skid steers, I don't realize I need it until I have it, and then that thing's busy. I mean, I don't get nothing without it usually being busy. Like right when I get it, I never see it again. It's back, it's out on a job, or it's hardly ever at the shop. It's gone, and then it hits me. I'm like, man, we really needed that.
Yeah.
And there I was thinking we didn't need that, but
for me, it's fans and dehumidifiers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how many of them that I purchase.
Right.
At some point, there'll be a storm event, and I won't have enough equipment. Right. It doesn't matter. Like whenever we started, it was myself and two other guys were partners, and we were doing home construction and just kind of anything that we could do to make money. I mow your fucking lawn. I do whatever it takes so that my family's going to eat. And that's what happened whenever I left that franchise. I was like, we got to do something. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start a construction company. So we did that. And then it became obvious that we're not going to make enough money for all of us to do this. We need to go back to what we all know. And we all knew the restoration industry. So we took on a fourth partner because the three of us left our jobs and started a company. Okay. And three guys that are willing to do something like that generally don't have any fucking money. Right. Like we're just starting over.
So we brought in the garage talking about
we got great ideas and no capital.
Right.
So we brought in a fourth partner who was the bank, and that individual financed and made it possible for us to purchase. I think it was 25 or 30 air movers, and then I think 7 dehumidifiers and some air scrubbers, and that all total it was about $20,000 worth of equipment. And that winter, right before we bought it, was a bad winter, and we had a lot of work that came out of that, and we paid for every piece of that equipment in the first month. So that $20,000 that we had financed, we paid for in the first month. And if I had been smarter, if we collectively had been smarter, we would have bought out that partner, the bank, at that point. Right. This is the end of your ownership. Here's an additional $5,000, and we've now bought out your shares because this ain't worth shit. Right. What we're sitting on has no real value. And then it would have, as it was, it cost me about $35,000 whenever that person left. And I can assure you at the time, with 3 partners, the company was not worth $100,000. Right. But that's what it took to get that person. And I don't have any animosity, but that's the math. Do the math. Right. That's what it took to get rid of that person. And so I have.
If I ever have to get rid of my partner, I'm putting her in the bottom of a deep hole.
Yeah, and then putting a doghouse on top of her so nobody can
get my half.
It's and I'll have the same problem now because when in 2017 we went to Texas to Houston and chased Harvey, I think it was maybe. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, hurricane.
Hurricane. We chased the hurricane and we went down there and we did a $40,000 or $50,000 worth of work, but stayed way too long. So the work dried up, and we stayed trying to find more work. Spent our money trying to find more work. Came back like whipped dogs. Right. And when we came back, the last partner was ready for a divorce. It was no ill will. He was just tired of being poor. Right. And I think that is the secret sauce for being a successful entrepreneur is get comfortable with being poor. Mm-hmm. If you can be comfortable with being poor and not having all of the frilly things and the eating out all the time and new clothes, if you can be comfortable knowing that you've got $1,800 in a month to pay $1,500 worth of bills, then you can do anything. I mean anything. You just have to have that fortitude to get through it. He didn't, and I don't blame him at all. It was real hard. Mm-hmm. But I bought him out, and it was just me. And then I signed Chrissy into the company, so we own it 50-50. And since there has only been...
Chrissy's your wife?
I'm sorry, yeah, Chrissy's my wife.
Okay.
We got married in 2000. Been together since 98. Probably the best decision I've ever made. I can say that comfortably.
Right.
Not just because she's going to see this at some point, but
that's why I was asking Lisa. I was like, how did I get so damn lucky? What'd I do? What happened?
I don't know.
How did I go from prison to this? What happened there?
So listen, I want to quickly finish what I was getting at there. Never mind, I forgot what the fuck it was. I got a better thing to say. My wife and I have lived through just ridiculous downs, and it's all my fault. It's all my doing. Every really low spot that we've ever hit has been because of something that I did wrong. Right. And now she sees, and now she knows, and I can see it, it took a long time, that those were all spots where I was learning to do it right. That's how I work.
Right.
I have to fuck it up before I can get it right. I have to. So it came to a point where now
it's partnership. It's good teamwork.
Now
right there.
She is reaping the benefits of carrying me when I was such a shit.
Yeah.
Just such a sloppy, stupid. Like for 8 months in 1 year, I didn't hold a job at all. Like at all. I didn't do anything but hang out. Buddy, I was a ton of fun. If you wanted to have a good time, just throw me in somewhere, and we were going to enjoy ourselves, because that was the whole point of my existence for that. And we were married. We were together. We were married. I got married in 2000. I was 25 years old when I got married. So
it's in 20s, man. They're hard.
From 25 to 30, actually from 25 to 32, whenever we moved and all, I was hot, stinky dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Ton of fun. We had ridiculous amounts of a good time.
Right.
But she carried us. And now she doesn't have to.
At the time, he's like, hey, we're comfortable being poor. And she's like,
Yeah,
I mean, we could probably be a little more comfortable if you
I wouldn't mind
out.
some McDonald's every once in a while.
How comfortable we got to be. You're doing pretty good now, though.
Because...
I think you just have to grow through it. It's growing pains. She was there for you. Luckily, she believed in you, is what it was. She believed in you. She saw something that you didn't see in yourself, and she stuck by your side. So, but it's just growing pains. So don't think that, you're not going to run into these hard times.
Oh, man. They're the things that make you.
I messed up big time, too. Hell, I went all the way to prison, and I was all over the place. And Lisa and I dated in high school. Messed that up. And then when I got home from prison, we got back together. But I'm thinking like she was uncatchable, at the time. Right. There's no way. She was selling business insurance, living in Florida, smoking hot. And I'm just like, but for whatever fucking reason, when I got home from prison, she wanted to be with me. She believed in me, I guess.
She just sees something that
she's
the other
reaping
people
it now.
didn't see.
But I didn't have nothing. She can't. In fact, when we got together, I didn't have no savings at all. I just had whatever check I got that week. And she came with savings, and I thought, damn. Right? I went right and bought a Honda Shadow. I did, didn't I? I was like, you got that much money?
Yeah.
You paid me back.
I paid her back. But we went to a yard sale like 2 weeks after she moved down here. I was like, hey, remember all that money you showed me you had? I was like, let me get a few grand. I'm going to buy this motorcycle and catch a loan off
Making
of
great decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, she's, like you said, she sticks with me and figures out, when I mess up, it ain't too bad. She'll fix it pretty much.
Now we have a shorthand, and it's the greatest thing in the world. It is the greatest thing in the world. It's not like we don't argue. We don't discuss our feelings more in depth than either one of us want to, because we do. But there's a shorthand involved that is just understood. And, man, once you get there, the quicker you get there, the better off you're going to be. But it's coming. You'll get it. You'll hit that, and then it's things that used to just set you off just don't matter. You know that mean it. You know that whole, they didn't think about it before they said it, so it must have meant something that it didn't mean.
Yeah.
That's not right. It didn't mean shit.
Right.
They just weren't thinking when they said it.
Or
That's mostly me.
I've heard it all at this point. Like, come on, girl, is that all you got?
Yeah.
Like Forrest Gump up there on the thing.
Somehow you spitting truth at me is going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Come on, I know who I am.
Yep. In the same way for the last 20 years,
Yeah,
baby.
yeah. It's like, are you just getting with the game now?
Yeah. Sometimes she'll rag on me, and I'll be like, well, I've always done that, though.
Mm-hmm.
So you got me with me when I was doing that.
What she's saying is now you're at that. All right, that's it. You've done it long enough now. It's time. Well, super fortunate, man. I would absolutely not be where I'm at had I not married the woman that I married. There's a high tolerance for shit.
Well, that's good. I mean, we all need that good partner that can stick by us
Mm-hmm.
and be our what is it, a zen and yang?
Yeah,
Somebody's got to be the zen and somebody's got to be the yang. We can't all be zens around here.
No, we can't because won't nothing get done.
Yeah.
And then having kids.
Oh, that's a game changer there. I mean, it's either in you or it's not. But for me, especially coming home, seeing my boys, and my wife. My wife's another big reason, but that makes me want to work and be good because I'll fuck up. I'll fuck up quick, and I'll be driving down the road and I'll think about fucking up, but then I'm like, I gotta go home with my wife and kids. I'll look at something that used to make me want to fuck up, and I'll just keep going. I'll go on home because I gotta, stuff to work for.
This truck is real nice. This seat is comfortable.
Yeah,
I like the things that I have.
Mm-hmm. Damn, this is a nice truck.
Yeah, don't forget that shit. Yeah, don't forget that shit.
It's hard to call other business owners and ask them, you want to come on a podcast.
Oh, I had reservations. I had no idea what to expect. This has been very, it's been really comfortable. I didn't know what to expect. So whenever he texted me, I was like, I'm not putting you off. I just got to run this through my head a few times.
I don't run the podcast by everybody around here because, I don't want everybody to know. So I don't really advertise it around here that much. It's more like on TikTok and out there on YouTube and stuff. So it's hard to ask other business owners because whenever I tell them, they're looking at me like, you got a what? And I'm like, well, so I went to prison because most people don't know my background.
Right.
Until I tell them. Did you know I'd went to prison until I asked you to be on here?
Mm-mm. We have a mutual friend, a person that you've known for a long time in your life, named Thomas.
Yeah.
But he'd never said anything about you having been in prison. I just assumed you were.
And I don't know if most people know because I was already for the 5 years, well, I was working, but for the time before my prison, I was so messed up. I guess people forgot about me. I was just kind of hiding. I was all methed out. So I wasn't coming out in the daytime. I'd come out at night like a vampire. And then I get back from prison and I'd see people and they'd be like, oh, hey, like I just seen them yesterday. I'm like, hey.
Like it ain't nothing.
Yeah, it's been 10 years since I saw you, but now it's a normal thing now that I'm older because I do go a long time without seeing people, but yeah, that's probably what happened. But Thomas, he's good. I'm glad he's your employee. I'm glad he's doing good.
Oh, he's fantastic, dude.
I've known him a long time.
Fantastic. I would have, he's amazing. Yeah, very, very fortunate to have him. We didn't address that, but the most important thing that I've ever done really as a business owner is build a good team, and I've been fortunate enough to make that happen.
Right. I did want to address that.
Yeah.
Because you told me, and that some of the people that I watch, they're hiring the right people for the right job. Mm-hmm. It's hard. You're a business owner and you're doing it all. You're doing the book work and you're doing the estimating and you're doing the tractor work. And then if you're doing it all, you're just basically paying yourself to work your ass off.
Yes. You
don't really have a company until you start hiring people in these positions. You do, but
until you put some organization to it.
Yeah, it helps you grow, and the companies that I'm watching that are growing are putting the right people in the right places.
So for me, that process is to hire good people and then find out where they fit. Because I couldn't find the production manager position that Thomas holds is the hardest job in our industry. It doesn't get any more difficult than that. There is no amount of sucking shit is as bad as the guy that has told you where to go and how to do it and when you got to be there and all that. That's the hardest job, juggling a ton of stuff. So you can't just hire that person, in my opinion. You have to hire a lot of good people and
train one up.
Find which one has got the emotional ability to run that position. And you have to have an appropriate amount of apathy. Nothing can be so important that it's going to ruin your day. Nothing. So you have to be able to, and that's for that position. But what I'm getting at is hire really good people, and then figure out where they fit in your company.
Right.
So I've hired Jason and Andy and Thomas and Jeff and Matt, and then a slew of really good guys to go around him, and Jessica in the office doing the bookkeeping and the phones. I didn't know that these people were going to be good at the things that I needed them to do. I just knew they were good people.
Right.
And then once they showed me, through trial and error, you got to run the gauntlet and we're going to see what you can do. Then I found where, okay, you've got this kind of a personality and you're going to be great with the really minute details. You're going to work things out to the very finest end. This is the job for you. I want you auditing everything that we do. And you're great with computer stuff, and you're great with Excel and spreadsheets and all that. I want you to be the estimate writer. You're going to do all of the exactament work, and you're going to. So finding that,
it's really good information.
Finding those people that are just good people, you can trust them. They're not going to take advantage of your company or you or the people
that's
around
something
them.
I always stress about too.
Yeah,
I don't know these people. How much knowledge can they have about the inner business?
People
how
that
things
are
work.
honest about their shortcomings, not forthcoming about their shortcomings. They hide them, but they're honest when confronted.
Mm-hmm.
And then people who are willing to do hard work because they know it needs to be done, and people who have reasonably good financial decision-making properties. So are you constantly in debt needing money before Friday?
Right.
You can't use that person.
Right.
They don't
Nothing
have
financially anyways.
Yeah. Well, no.
Don't give them a card.
Don't
work.
You don't use them because they don't make good decisions.
Right.
And that's most evident because of their financial woes, right? Mm-hmm. But if they make good financial decisions, that's a great indicator that they're at least responsible. And so whenever you put them out there into the world to do something that you need them to do well, they're going to know that, all right, it's my time to shine.
Right.
This is my chance. I'm going to take my chance. And then they do a good job and they follow up. But if you're...
How good of a point is that, Lisa? Because we had the exact same thing happen to us recently. Guy wanted paid before he never showed back up to finish the job.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you have to exhibit a level of stability.
And then I saw him posting on Facebook what I thought looked like good work, and I messaged the same guy back again and was like, "Hey, I need some work done." And then my wife's like, "That's the same guy that you fired last time." And I had to message him back. I said, "Never mind. Don't come over." And he said, "Why not?" And I said, "Well, I fired you last time." He's like, "Fired me?" I said, "Well, you took the money and you didn't come back. That's pretty much fired."
Yeah, that's fired.
It's like, but I'm that guy.
If I didn't fire you then, you're fired now.
If not, you're fired.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, building a good team. And
building a good team is
I
very
did it by
important.
just finding good people. And man, that's...
It's really helped it out.
You have to have some kind of a...
So one guy can only do so much in a day. So the more guys, that's what I was thinking the other day too.
Yeah.
Even if, it costs more to have this payroll, because that's another thing.
Dude, it's
thinking.
exponential.
You got all these guys, you got to have this money in the capital for the payroll to pay, especially getting started. It's like a jump, I don't know if you hired a bunch of people at once or just one and then added one.
It was gradual. Everything that I've ever done has been very slow and deliberate. I think that's probably one of the only reasons that we're still here. I carry very, very, very little debt. We purchased our building. So there's like $100,000 in debt there, and then everything else is paid for.
Awesome.
I have a truck note, my truck. But yeah, so I don't carry any debt. It's just cash flow. And if there's something that we need, then we just shut off the cards. We shut off the cash flow. It backs up a little bit, and then we turn it back on, and I use that $10,000 to do whatever comes next. It's not that simple. But
it's working.
But that's
for
basic.
you.
No, well, it's not as easy as just shut off the. But that's the general idea. Any excess spending is shut off, and you stack some cash and get good at being poor, man. Yeah, planning for the future. That's how I one at a time. Hire the people one at a time.
Right.
Until and everybody that has ever worked for me has worked for me. Yeah. Like the people that are running the show and doing office work and stuff. They also ripped out wet carpet in the basement at 3:00 in the morning. They've all done that.
Yeah, that's important. Like, because we're gonna be hiring more people. We just hired a guy in the office. We got an office. We talked about that, I think, on the last episode. But with that guy, he really doesn't have anybody overseeing him. I mean, he's a project manager and an estimator, so he's doing his own thing on the computer. But I'm trying to explain, like, hey, we got to make sure we're always working. You know, like if stuff isn't producing, then you're not making money.
Right.
Then it ain't worth it. So got to be able to have that responsibility. I'm putting you in a position takes a lot of responsibility. And I'm putting a lot of faith in you. So run with it. And so far he's done good.
You know the adage about like out of sight, out of mind. If you leave $100 laying out and you bring a bunch of people into your house, there's a chance you're not going to have $100 when it's done. But if you put the $100 in the drawer, you're going to have your $100 whenever it's all over, right? So there's a certain amount of accountability for you to put that money in the drawer. So if you've got somebody working for you that doesn't have any oversight, you are setting them up to fuck you.
What?
It won't have to happen, but you're setting them up to screw you over. They have to have oversight. Everybody,
they've got some oversight. I don't want to say
everybody
they're
has to.
oversight.
Well,
I mean, we talk daily.
Everybody has to have accountability.
Right.
And if there's no
the
accountability,
new office going to have a camera right up there in the corner.
Right.
And that shit's on my phone now. So, I mean, he might not have no oversight, but I'm still pull that shit up on my phone and see, are we working or are we taking naps?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. There's, you have to implement some accountability. I fight it every day. I have too many people. So every day at work for me is 8 guys going out into the world in teams of 2 to do 4 different jobs on their own.
Accountability. Yeah. And everybody's pointing fingers when something happened.
Exactly. And so that's why Thomas has to be out there and I have to be out there and Jason has to be out there and we oversee the stuff that happens. Everybody takes a little bit of that responsibility and we watch closely all the things that are happening because somebody's going to call and say your dude's smoking weed in his van. Like, really?
Right.
So you got to go find out what's going on there and what happened and get to the bottom of it. And it turns out he's hitting a nicotine vape, or is he hitting his weed pen?
Right. I pull up and the customer and the damn employee gets out of the van. I'm like, what?
You're like, they've done hotboxed it.
Yeah, I'm like, I told you guys, get back to work. What are you doing in there?
Yeah. Well, and it's the world that we're living in. That kind of stuff is real common.
Where we're at, weed's legal, so it's not uncommon for me to be at a job and a customer be smoking on the back porch or something.
Yeah, they'll be growing in the backyard.
I'll be like, you're good, man. I don't care.
Mm-hmm. It's your life. You live it however you live.
I'm at your house.
Business.
You're not at my house. I'm at your house. You do whatever the hell you want.
Yes. So the accountability, dude, it's huge. Huge. My mother told me when I was little that you can't trust anybody implicitly. And I'm like, what the hell? What is implicitly, Mom? Because she used big words. She could. And she was implicitly. And it's just completely, you can't trust anybody completely. Everybody has the potential to do. So just pay attention. Don't give them the tools.
Sure. Yeah.
And you'll be fine.
We're watching like a hawk. I'm just saying, usually a new guy, I want him with me, or I want I want to be able to keep an eye on what's going on.
I'm not saying that this is something you're doing wrong. I think that it's important for individuals to know.
Yeah.
That it's,
for sure.
Yeah, it's not, I'm sorry, that it sounded like it was more about you.
Right.
That wasn't my intention. It's just one of those things.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Man.
I'm really, my wife or me are the only ones that deal with any of the financial stuff. So in estimating, I look over everything before anything's submitted. And really, I do the estimating. The new guy's position's more starting out is helping me get the stuff I need on these commercial jobs because we're looking at doing more commercial work. So involved with this is a lot of damn running. You got to go to pre-job meetings and then come get pricing for this and that. And like you said, I sit down at a computer or something like that, and I'm looking outside at the bird on the tree limb for like 30 minutes. And I'm like, man, I'm thinking about riding four-wheelers. I got
to turn some music on, honestly. And I don't know what it is about my ADD brain, but if I turn music on, then it sort of distracts that little dude running in circles behind me. it distracts him and it allows me to do a little bit of focus.
Right.
Dude, it has to, whatever it takes to get you there.
I use the earbuds all day, and I'm sure they're hard on my head or doing something
Whatever.
bad to me, but
Got
I'm
ear
enjoying
cancer.
the hell out of them.
Right.
I'll take a couple years. I'll trade a couple years for the earbuds.
Yes.
So, all right,
now
Eric.
it's
Well, I really appreciate you.
Is now when I take my shirt off?
Yeah. Yeah, this is the end. I really appreciate you coming on. You've been a great guest. You gave a lot of knowledge about your industry and just overall how you should carry yourself and go about things, and also what to expect. It's always a roller coaster. You're going to go up, and you're going to go down. And even when you're on the ups, you're like anticipating the downs. Like, I don't know how many times I've been on a high and I'm like, everybody don't move. Like, just stay here. Everything's good.
Yeah.
And then, whoo, here we go. Winter's coming. It just rained for a month or something like that. And you're like, yep. So, like Eric was saying, get comfortable being poor or get used to it. Just know that it could happen. As long as you're used to it or you know it or you've been there, you're like, oh, well, that was easy. You know, not easy, but I could do it again. I could do it again and easy.
Yes.
I told Lisa that. I'm like, I feel like we could start right back. I'd get the knowledge now. It's all the knowledge.
It is. It's cumulative. Yes.
Yes. So I think you've been a great guest. I
Thank
appreciate you coming on.
This is awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Till we see you next time, guys. Reckless Success. All right, guys. We're going to wrap up. You can follow us on TikTok and YouTube at reckless.success. Instagram at recklesssuccess. We're on Spotify and all major podcast services. Hit that subscribe button, please. For more information on May Excavating, check out our website or TikTok. That's a wrap. Thanks.